I have a friend that, we talk sometime consistently, like every day or 3 or 4 times a day. And then we're in a spell of like talking, maybe a text here or there. It's been a crazy good week without reason or excuses, but it left room for me to feel some other things like, is the relationship changing? Is it pivoting? It's not the relationship. It's not just the relationship. It's me too. And it's me appreciating my space to breathe without somebody anticipating something off of me and me off of them, or I like missing them. That's a good thing. The feeling to
Mm,
miss somebody, it means something, and just
mm,
let that space exist to miss,
yeah,
but not for me to fill my life up, my days, my thoughts with them, or wondering why we're not
yeah.
talking. So when you were saying about this, I don't know who, I think maybe your husband, of looking for affirmation outside of self. When I'm looking for affirmation now outside of self, it gives me an inner reflection to grow
Mm,
myself.
mm, mm.
Because when I need somebody, I'm really draining them. And when somebody really needs me, it kind of drains me off of my course.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I don't want to do that to my new friend, my new companion. I don't want to drain them. And I sure will not allow them to drain me. And I don't want them to feel insufficient
Mm,
because I'm not leaving myself around like a bottle of alcohol just to be evaporated into their breathing space. I don't want to be around someone like that. So I appreciate missing them.
mm, mm. It's such a good description. I'm really sorry, but I have to go because I've got to go and help
Mm,
empty out the basement, which got a bit of flooding.
mm.
Um, Jesse, thank you so much. This was very helpful, and it was so nice to have you join us, Sandra. Thank you.
So nice to be in your presence.
Yeah, we always come up with like really good, deep stuff to noodle.
Mm.
Have a great day, you guys.
You
Bye.
Thanks,
have a
Allison. You
good day.
too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Jesse. It's been a powerful 10 or 15 minutes here for me, and I have so much to appreciate and digest already.
Yeah, I was, well, I'll share it with her later, but it's, yeah, exploring the words of love. There's and it's like we have, we have neurons that are triggered around love, and then we have stories, we have deep beliefs, we have deep, um, and I mean deep neurons into what love is, what it isn't, how we get it, what we look for when we have it and when we don't, and how do we cope with it. Like if you begin to just kind of pull back all of that, wow, there's a lifetime behind that. And I guess sometimes it's not, there can be places where it's not healthy. And one of the things we said earlier today is like the first place is we have to, rather than looking out there for someone to fulfill this word we call love, we've got to fill it from with ourselves, like to ourselves, of ourselves, through ourselves, because no one else can love one that doesn't.
Mm.
And so as we like speaking around it, it's like the most important thing is to be aware of it, like to notice, to recognize, to see, is the awareness is to become aware of it. And as we were working through this situation, I mean, my obvious answer was there of like what to deal with, how to convey it, how to be in it. And so and what that means is to be practicing creating new neural pathways that are connected to the pathways we want to keep,
Mhm.
letting go of the ones that we don't. And how you let go is to not use them anymore, not use the neural networks, the neural systems anymore, but replace them with new ones. And that is again awareness, and it's intentional. So so the three words that I wanted to have Allison um, notice with their client is um, curious, curiosity,
Mhm.
curious, like curious. So it's the moments we're frustrated, be curious why we're frustrated.
Mhm.
Be curious what others are doing that has us frustrated. Curious about that. Oh, tell me that that is a neuron firing that goes a whole different direction.
Yes.
I
And if
like
we
being,
can't be, oh, go ahead, sorry.
I like that, the coming at it from the curious perspective.
Mhm. That's one way. And sometimes we can't be curious with it, right? Or sometimes it's not something that like it's curiosity just doesn't work. And so a second one is to be open. So openness for it. And so like working with children or being frustrated with children or like yeah, like the what children are doing creates a source of frustration. And it's like to be open to what they're doing. And a way down deep underneath this is like there's a fear of not being a good dad. So it's openness to the child sitting in curiosity, wonder, openness of like what they're doing because we're aware of the frustration. It's like that's a whole different space to be a dad. And so we have curious, open, and the third one is acceptance. Like accepting the behavior, the outburst, both the frustration and the action that's stirring it. And it's like that acceptance is what it is in the moment. Hmm?
I'm tasting the words.
Yeah,
Curious, open, acceptance.
yeah. Equals, it's like those, like, interesting curiosity plus openness plus acceptance equals love. It's like that's where love can grow and bloom and blossom. It can compound. That's a good word. And we all know, like the where you've gone through it is like the awareness of that, right? And the awareness of uh, the awareness of seeing those things and then us changing the responses, the reactions to them. That's not easy. But well worth it for the change that can come out of a different reaction to or response to the circumstances. Otherwise, we just keep playing the same patterns over and over again. Those patterns are those neural networks.
So in this space that I'm in, this conversation is relative because in this space that I'm in, I am noticing some impulsive expectations. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I don't really want the results that that brings. It's okay if I don't have those results. Let me see what it would just bring up naturally. And then I'm curious. And then I give it room.
Yep.
And if over moments or time or days or week, whatever it takes, I get a different, I allow for other stuff to come up and just see what it is that comes up. And I get to partake of what I want it to be. And some things, just to be aware of it is enough to partake of it. Because I don't want necessarily want to rely on the past. We're living every day, because even something that looks like something of the past that gave me some results that I didn't want, I can't judge it today from another source the way it showed up in the past, because I'm different.
Yes.
So I just have to let it, gradually be and become what it is in the present tense, and not predetermine what it's has the propensity to be in the future. So that's open. What are your words? It was curious, open, and what was the third one?
Acceptance.
Yeah. And accepting that it will be what it comes to be, and not be mad or presuppose it fulfilling something that I don't know if it's going to be for me or not. And if it feels like something I want, then okay.
And if it feels like something that, well, you know, not that it's bad, it just may not be for me, to appreciate it and it to have value for me in an area that I have room for. But it doesn't judge the giver, and I don't judge myself as a receiver, and vice versa, as good or bad.
I was thinking that like the want, like what we the want is different than the familiar.
Mm.
I think so often, and they blend together. And so, as I heard you moving between the openness and the acceptance, it's like there's a dance between them. And it's like those three things, like to me, it's like what to experience or explore, which is how we embody it, is how we become aware, how we work with it. And it's not a light switch, like, oh, there it is. Like, oh, I have it for everything in my life. No, it's like we have to practice that in all domains of our lives. And it's what I call a way of being. So our way of being modifies from how we are today to being more curious, more open, and more acceptance. And we look or notice, become aware of times, situations, circumstances when we're not. And that doesn't mean in the moment we can change it, but it does mean after the fact we can't. That's the only way to learn it. So that we get better at it, meaning like those neural networks are in place so that the response doesn't go down the familiar path. That takes work to have that path established, set up beforehand, so that we're not launched into those reactive channels.
Mhm. So my mind keeps going back to the passage in the Bible is about what love is and it being slow to anger. And when you said the part about and recognizing in myself to not be impulsive, be aware of what triggers me or what brings up something, because sometimes it's not really a trigger, it's just an awareness, but the trigger is when I'm like, and I'm impulsive and I jump to a conclusion and give it a response. When it if I'm slow, I can do some other things to understand what's happening. But if I just let something trigger me and I'm impulsive, then I've added something to the chemistry that will more than likely give me results of something that I don't want. Or it'll be, what can I say? Diluted. The results that I want can be diluted. Because sometimes impulsive results aren't necessarily bad, like, with anger or something like that's going to come up. But sometimes you can give of yourself so impulsively
that it really doesn't get a chance to maturate into, is this a place of value for me to share this, to contribute? Sometimes it's good to be slow to give, slow to participate, slow to offer, to make sure that what you're giving is a place where you feel like you're giving a value and it's fulfilling for you to give that value.
Yes, it's like as you were speaking it, I can say it's like I can escalate a fight with my spouse very easily. And it doesn't even really have to be in the words, but it could be in the responses, and it mostly lies in the tone, because the tone is associated with a trigger that I'm not unaware of. That's a festering of a childhood wound, right? That's still open. And my reaction is always the same way, right? And it escalates because it amplifies both of ours. And the tendency, the thing of it is the pressure points are the same for both of us. Like, your tone is telling me I'm an idiot and I'm going to defend that, so I'm going to make you the idiot. We don't see that that's what it is, because that is a hidden layer way underneath there.
I gotta rest in that a second. My tone is saying you're an idiot. And that can speak volumes, volumes, and take up the whole room. And it has nothing to do with why you needed to open up and communicate in the first place.
No.
Wow. So this may turn it another way. When those moments happen, because sometimes the frustrations or the incomplete understandings of our emotions, they have to exercise and come out somewhere. And is that tone and stuff, is it, they say that we hurt the people we love the most, is it because they're the ones around that get our erratic, incomplete, irrational energies? Because when we go out, we're in the boardroom, we're around, other people, we're just like the nicest thing, but our spouse is looking at us and saying, he's a freaking jerk. He treats me like crap. He can be nice to everyone else and make everyone else feel comfortable and at home and loving, and everybody's gone and I don't even feel at home in my own house. What kind of crap is that? He's a bunch of bullshit. And you go to bed and you hold your backs to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because you can't hold your veil. You can hold your veil up for other people for a while. You can give them that goodness of you. You can do that for a while, but sometimes it's exhausting when you have so much incompleteness or frustration that you do have to like soak down in the couch sometime and think and feel and consider, what am I doing? How am I doing? Let me, what I gotta negotiate this, we're preoccupied and there's nobody in the room but the two of you. And they come over and you're like, I can't be bothered right now. I'm tired. Like, where's the guy that was here when all the company was here? Can that guy come back? Can that
The
guy
fun
treat
one.
me nice?
That's right. The fun one, right?
Yeah, the considerate one.
Oh,
So we show appreciation for other people in our space, but the one that's there all the time, that's the point where you get taken for granted, or you take the people that are always there for granted.
yep. Because the expectation is that they're supposed to love us, and they do, right? They do. Up until a point.
Yeah, they do, up until the point where they're still working on themselves to love themselves or
Mhm.
not love themselves.
Yep.
Mm.
And
I apologize. I have to stay on clock today to get things
yeah,
done.
you do that. Thank you. Thanks for swinging by.
Yes, always a good place to be. Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you. Thank you, Sindrell. Have a wonderful day.
You as well. Peace and love.
Thank you.